This is for educational use only. Our group grants permission for our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardinis, to use this as educational material.
Learning objectives. What is global governance and why is it important in today's interconnected world? Global governance refers to the way international affairs are managed through cooperation among states, institutions, and organizations. It matters because the world today faces problems that no single country can solve alone, such as climate change, pandemics, and international security.
Nationalism versus globalism. The terms internationalism and globalism are often confused, but they represent two different philosophies. Internationalism is the belief that nations should cooperate and work together while maintaining their national sovereignty and identity. The focus is on relations between distinct nations. Think of a neighborhood watch where each house is its own independent unit, but everyone agrees to work together to keep communities safe. A prime example of this is the Paris Agreement on climate change. Countries commit to reducing emissions, but they set their own targets and national plans, respecting their individual sovereignty.
Now, globalism is a more integrated concept. It suggested that the world is a single, interconnected system where national borders are less significant. This view promotes a greater sense of shared responsibility and can involve ceding some national authority to international bodies for the greater good. The European Union is an excellent real-world example. Member states share a common currency, have open borders for travel, and are governed by a central body like the European Commission, which can create laws that apply to all members, illustrating a deeper level of integration. In essence, internationalism is about cooperation between nations, while globalism is about integration across nations. Both have shaped the modern world.
The tension between them, balancing national interests with global needs, is a defining feature of contemporary global politics.
So if it's not world government, what is global governance? It is a complex, multi-actor system of formal and informal rules, norms, and institutions that manage global affairs. It is the sum of many ways individual and institution, both private and public, manage their common problems. Global governance is like the unwritten rulebook for a game that all countries agree to play by, even if they don't always follow every rule. Like climate change, trade, health issues, and security issues. It is not one single world government, but a system of rules, agreements, and cooperation amongst international institutions like the UN, WTO, WHO, states, and press to handle global issues. One of the examples is the COVID-19 response, where the WHO government and organizations coordinated efforts to protect public health worldwide.
Global governance is not a world government that controls all nations, but rather a framework of cooperation that brings together countries, international organizations, institutions to address issues that go beyond national borders. It allows states to coordinate policies, share responsibilities, and create agreements on matters like climate change, global security, trade, health, and human rights, unlike a single central authority. Global governance respects the sovereignty of each nation while promoting collective action to ensure peace, stability, and sustainable development for the international community.
So I'll be discussing some of the key institutions that govern international relations. So then these organizations and institutions are very important because they help countries work together to solve global problems. Things like peace, trade, financial stability, health, and even regional issues. Without them, it would be really hard for countries to manage global challenges on their own. So the first institution is the United Nations. So the United Nations is like the world's main organization for peace and cooperation. It works on keeping peace, protecting human rights, and helping countries in crisis. So a recent example is in August 2025 when the UN extended its peacekeeping mission in Lebanon called UNIFIL. until 2026. After that, they'll start handing full security back to the Lebanon's government. This shows that the UN helps keep stability until countries are ready to manage things on their own. Next is the World Trade Organization. So the World Trade Organization makes sure that trade between countries is fair and runs smoothly. So if countries have conflicts about tariffs or products, the WTO steps in to fix it. So for example, in 2024, China filed a case against the European Union over tariffs on electric vehicles. Instead of a trade war, the WTO becomes the neutral referee to handle the issue. So this shows how important the WTO is in keeping the global trade stable. The third one is International Monetary Funds, or the IMF. So the IMF focuses on global financial stability. When countries face economic crisis, the IMF lends and gives financial advice. So a clear example is in 2024, when Pakistan received a $7 billion program to stabilize its economy. Then in 2025, the IMF released another $1.3 billion to help the Pakistan recover and strengthen climate resilience. So this just proves that how the IMF acts as a lifeline for struggling economies. Fourth is the World Health Organization, or the WHO. So the WHO is responsible for global health. It coordinates responses to diseases, sets health standards, and supports countries in improving their health systems. Right now, it continues to guide vaccination strategies for COVID-19 and keeps watch on outbreaks like avian flu. So whenever there's a health crisis, the WHO is one of the first organizations to step in, which shows how important it is for everyone's safety. And lastly, the regional bodies like ASEAN, European Union, and the African Union. So regional groups also plays a big role in governance. ASEAN, for example, met in Malaysia this year, 2025, to address the conflict in Myanmar and also discuss a code of conduct for the South China Sea. The European Union has been supporting Ukraine and also passed laws to regulate artificial intelligence. Meanwhile, the African Union is moving forward with the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is one of the biggest projects to boost trade within Africa. And this shows that even the regional level cooperation is very important. These institutions, whether global like the UN, WTO, IMF, and WHO, or the regional like ASEAN, European Union, and African Union, are important for global governance. They're not just organizations we read about in textbooks, they're actively solving real-world problems right now. Without them, it would be much harder to deal with wars, pandemics, economic crisis, or trade disputes. This proves that cooperation and teamwork among countries are the key to handling global challenges.
One of the primary functions of the United Nations is to maintain international peace and security. The UN plays a key role in preventing wars, mediating disputes, and addressing conflicts before they escalate into full-scale violence. Through the UN Security Council, peacekeeping missions are deployed in conflict zones such as South Sudan and Democratic Republic of Congo. Civilians in support peace process, these efforts are vital in reducing devastation caused by war and promoting global stability. Another major function of the UN is to promote sustainable development, recognizing that peace and prosperity cannot be achieved without addressing poverty, inequality, and environmental challenges. The UN established the Sustainable Development Goals as a blueprint to guide nations in building better societies by 2030. Though programs under United Nations Development Program, the organization supports countries in improving education, healthcare infrastructures, and climate action. By fostering long-term economic growth and environmental protection, the UN helps ensure a better future for present and future generations. A third essential function of the UN is to protect human rights. Since the adoption of Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, the UN has set global standards for dignity, equality, and freedom. It continues to uphold these values through the work of the Human Rights Council, and the Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights, which monitor and investigate abuses worldwide. For instance, the UN has addressed violations such as precautions of the Rohingya people in Myanmar, the other cases of discrimination and violence. By promoting human rights, the UN ensures fairness, justice, and protection for vulnerable populations across the globe.
So, deliver humanitarian aid. When disaster strikes, be it a devastating cyclone or the horrors of conflict, the UN arrives with more than relief. It brings hope. Agencies like OCHA, WFP, and UNICEF orchestrate life-saving supply chains, coordinate global help, and stand as lifelines to communities, reeling from trauma with compassion and logistic prowess. The UN delivers vital food, shelter, medicine, and protection, even amid chaos. United Nations upholds international law. Imagine a world where agreements were just words on paper. The UN turns those words into action. With the Charter as its compass, it sets the rules of the road. Through the International Court of Justice, binding treaties, and legal mandates, it demands accountability, whether through the court judgments, sanctions, or legal norms established across nations. The UN strives tirelessly to ensure that justice isn't an idea but a lived reality.
Relevance of the state amid globalization. Globalization has significantly transformed the world in the last few decades, connecting people, markets, and countries like never before. However, despite the increasing interconnectedness, states remain the primary actors in the global political and economic system. Here's how the state fits into the picture. Number one is sovereignty and independence. Absolute sovereignty. While globalization has reduced some aspects of absolute sovereignty, for example, in areas like trade, communication, or environmental standards, states still retain essential control over their domestic affairs, including their legal system, borders, and military forces. Interdependence, as states become more independent, they engage in treaties, diplomacy, and multinational agreements, all of which require coordination between states. This highlights state role in managing relationships on a global scale. Even as sovereignty becomes more flexible, diplomacy and treaties. States play a central role in forming and maintaining the diplomatic relations, whether it's place agreement, trade, treaties, or environmental accords. States act as the primary negotiators and enforcers of international agreement. The United Nations, for instance, is a prime platform for states to negotiate international laws, security arrangement, and development program, law enforcement. State enforce laws domestically and internationally, whether it's the rule of law within national borders or through international organizations like the International Criminal Court. States hold a significant responsibility for maintaining order in cases of transnational crimes such as human trafficking, arms smuggling, or cybercrime. States cooperate but still have the primary responsibility for enforcement.
However, global governance faces significant challenges today. The first is the rise of non-state actors. Powerful multinational corporations like Apple or Shell can wield immense economic and political influence, sometimes exceeding that of national governments. Likewise, a transnational terrorist organization like Al-Qaeda or ISIS can pose a security threat that traditional state-centric security frameworks struggles to contain, making border less meaningful. Another major challenge is the emergence of new global problems. Climate change is a perfect example. A nation's carbon emissions affect the entire planet, requiring global cooperation that is often difficult to achieve due to competing national interests. Furthermore, cybersecurity threats such as the global ransomware attacks that have affected the hospital and government worldwide demonstrate a new domain of conflict that lacks a clear legal framework for response and accountability.